Welcome to Stoic Golden Tribe, the place where strong men come to rebuild their mind, protect their peace, and master the game of life. In a world full of noise, manipulation, and emotional traps, a man's greatest weapon is not anger, it's control. And today we're going to talk about one of the toughest battles a man can face: how to outsmart toxic people without losing your peace. Because no matter who you are, friend, lover, family, or co-worker, there will always be people who feed off drama, who drain your energy, and who test your discipline. But a strong man doesn't fight them on their level. He doesn't chase validation. He learns to move like water, calm, calculated, and untouchable. This isn't just about cutting people off. It's about mastering emotional power. It's about knowing when to respond, when to walk away, and when silence is the loudest statement of all. So, if you're tired of letting toxic people get inside your head, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to protect your peace, preserve your power, and outsmart the chaos with pure Stoic discipline. Before we begin, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the Stoic Golden Tribe, and share this message with a brother who needs to hear it. Let's grow this tribe of strong, unbreakable men who refuse to let negativity control their destiny. Chapter 1. The power of emotional control. Every strong man reaches a moment when he realizes, it's not the world that must change, it's his reaction to it. You can't control people. You can't force them to be honest, kind, or loyal. But what you can control is how much access they have to your emotions. That's where the real power lies. Toxic people thrive on reaction. They feed on the chaos they create in others. The more emotional energy you give them, the stronger they become. They want to see you angry, defensive, or desperate to prove your worth, because the moment you react, they win. Strong men don't fall for that trap. They don't let their peace be dictated by someone else's instability. They understand one simple truth: not every action deserves your attention, and not every insult requires a response. When someone tries to provoke you, pause, breathe. Silence is a weapon. It confuses the manipulator because they crave control through your reaction, and when you refuse to give it, they lose power over you. This is not weakness. This is mastery. The same mastery practiced by the Stoics. Men like Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire yet never let chaos pull him from his center. He understood that peace is not found in the absence of problems, but in the control of emotion. Think about it. When you argue with a toxic person, do you ever truly win? They twist your words, play victim, and drain your energy until you become the one who looks unstable. But when you stay calm, grounded, and unbothered, their manipulation hits a wall. You deny them what they crave most: your emotional surrender. So the next time someone tries to bait you, remember this: you don't owe anyone a reaction. You don't owe them your peace. A strong man's silence speaks louder than any argument ever could. Keep your peace sacred, because when you learn to master your emotions, you stop being someone's target and become someone they can no longer control. If you've ever had to stay calm around someone who tried to drag you into drama, share your thoughts below. Your story might remind another man that peace is the ultimate revenge. Chapter 2. Understanding the mind of toxic people. Toxic people are not always loud. Some wear smiles, some play the victim, and some disguise their manipulation as love, advice, or friendship. But behind every mask, there's one thing in common: control. A toxic person's greatest fear is losing influence over your emotions. That's why they test your patience, your confidence, and your boundaries. They want to see how far they can go before you snap. And once they know your weak spot, they'll press it again and again. They'll use guilt to make you doubt yourself. They'll use silence to make you chase validation. They'll twist your kindness into weakness. And when you finally call them out, they'll act like you're the problem. That's their game. They win by confusion. They win by chaos. They win when you start questioning your own worth just to keep their approval. But here's where strong men separate from the rest. A strong man studies patterns, not words. He pays attention to how people behave when they don't get what they want. He listens not just to what's being said, but to the energy behind it. And most importantly, he knows this truth. Toxic people only have power when you give them access to your peace. You see, when you start setting boundaries, they'll call you cold. When you stop reacting, they'll call you distant. When you walk away, they'll say you've changed. And you have, because growth makes you unrecognizable to the people who thrive on your old chaos. The Stoics taught that you can't control other people's behavior, but you can control how deeply it roots in your soul. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." That means the most powerful way to deal with toxicity is to rise above it, not mirror it. You don't fight fire with fire. You suffocate it with silence, dignity, and discipline. When a toxic person tries to pull you into their emotional storm, picture yourself as the mountain, unshaken, unbothered, standing tall as the wind howls around you. They'll rage, they'll manipulate, they'll try to guilt you. But a mountain does not bend for a storm. It endures it. And here's the deeper truth. Toxic people are addicted to reaction because it confirms their importance. When you stop reacting, they face the reality they've been running from. They were never in control. You start to see their weakness, their insecurities, their emptiness. You stop taking their words personally because you understand. Their behavior isn't a reflection of you, it's a reflection of the pain and disorder inside them. That's the moment you win the game, not by proving a point, not by fighting back, but by refusing to play at all. So when they try to drag you down into emotional quicksand, remember this: your peace is power, your silence is strategy, and your distance is dignity. The less you react, the more you rise. And when you finally walk away without explanation, that's when they feel the weight of what they lost. A man who can't be controlled, can't be broken, and can't be manipulated by chaos. If you've ever had to walk away from someone who thrived on your reaction, share your thoughts below. Because every time a man chooses peace over drama, he becomes living proof that strength isn't loud, it's silent, and it's sovereign. Chapter 3. The Art of Detachment. Turning pain into power. There's a reason why toxic people always circle back. It's not because they care. It's because they sense that your energy no longer belongs to them, and they can't stand losing control over something they once dominated. The moment you detach, you take away their favorite weapon, your reaction. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop allowing your peace to be held hostage by someone else's chaos. It's the art of mastering yourself so deeply that nothing external can shake your internal world. Most men misunderstand this. They think detachment is coldness. They think it's indifference. But true detachment is emotional maturity. It's realizing that peace doesn't come from fixing others. It comes from healing yourself and letting go of who drains you. When you detach, you begin to see the game for what it really is. You start noticing how manipulative people use guilt to make you stay, how they play kind when they want something and cruel when they don't get it. You start recognizing the patterns that once blinded you. And suddenly, what used to hurt now teaches you. You stop asking, why did they treat me this way? And start asking, why did I keep allowing it? That's where your transformation begins. Because the truth is, toxic people don't just drain your energy, they mirror your unhealed wounds. They find the cracks in your self-worth and crawl through them. And when you finally face your pain, you close those cracks forever. Detachment isn't running away, it's rising above. It's saying, I see what you're doing, but I no longer need to respond. It's walking away from manipulation, not out of anger, but out of clarity. Because when you've tasted peace, chaos becomes boring. And that's what confuses toxic people the most. You're calm. They can't manipulate a man who no longer seeks validation. They can't guilt-trip a man who's comfortable with distance. And they can't control a man who doesn't chase closure. A man who's truly detached doesn't argue. He observes. He doesn't beg for love. He gives it to himself. He doesn't fight for attention. He He becomes so focused on his purpose that the noise fades into the background. The ancient Stoics understood this well. Epictetus said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality," meaning, the pain you feel from toxic people isn't from their actions alone, but from how deeply you let those actions echo inside you. When you master detachment, those echoes stop. You stop replaying old arguments in your head. You stop defending yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop explaining your peace to those addicted to drama. You begin to see that walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because every time you choose silence over reaction, you're teaching your mind to protect your soul. Every time you stay calm when they expect chaos, you remind yourself that control is the highest form of power. And one day, you'll look back at the storm you survived and realize you didn't just escape toxic people, you evolved beyond them. You didn't just protect your peace, you built an armor around your mind. You learned that revenge isn't payback, it's peace, because nothing drives a toxic person crazier than watching you smile after they failed to destroy you. So the next time someone tries to pull you back into drama, remind yourself, you've outgrown that level of life. You've become untouchable because your energy is no longer available for anything that drains it. If you've ever learned to walk away with peace instead of anger, share your thoughts below, because every man who learns the art of detachment becomes a weapon, silent, centered, and unstoppable. Chapter 4. The Path to Mastery, Walking Away with Power and Peace. There comes a moment in every man's life when he finally understands. Peace is not something you find. It's something you build. And sometimes the first brick of peace is laid when you decide to walk away. The truth is, walking away is not easy. It takes more courage to leave than to stay and fight battles that only drain your soul. Toxic people know how to keep you tied to their chaos. Through guilt, through manipulation, through fake apologies that sound like change but smell like the same poison. They want you trapped in emotional debt, replaying every argument, questioning your worth, and defending your decisions. But the strong man, the Stoic man, learns to see through it all. He realizes that peace is more valuable than validation. He doesn't seek revenge because revenge is still a reaction. Instead, he turns pain into focus and heartbreak into hunger. That's how kings are built. Not by fighting every enemy, but by mastering the art of emotional retreat. Because true strength is not about proving you're right. It's about protecting your energy so you can keep moving toward your purpose. When you walk away with peace, you confuse the people who once controlled you. They can't understand how you found calm in the silence they tried to weaponize. They expect you to chase, to argue, to break, but instead you rise higher, colder, wiser. You start glowing differently, moving differently, speaking differently. You stop chasing explanations and start building empires in silence. That's when you realize some people were sent to teach you how to never be treated again. Their betrayal was your awakening, their rejection was your redirection, and their chaos was your classroom. Every man who has been betrayed or broken knows this feeling, the heavy silence after walking away. It hurts, it feels empty at first, but soon you'll notice something powerful. Peace doesn't scream, it whispers, and in that whisper, you'll find yourself again. You'll start sleeping better, you'll start smiling for no reason, you'll start feeling your strength return. That's the moment you realize the truth. You never needed to win them over, you only needed to win yourself back. Because peace is not passive, it's a decision you make daily, to stop fighting battles that don't grow you, to stop explaining your boundaries, to stop watering connections that only drain you. It's the decision to walk away without hate, without noise, without regret. And that's when life starts aligning differently. You begin to attract better energy. You meet people who respect your silence instead of punishing it. You find environments that feed your growth instead of testing your limits. And you realize your peace is the most expensive thing you own. The Stoics called it inner citadel, the unshakable fortress inside you. No insult, no betrayal, No manipulation can reach you there. You guard it with discipline, you protect it with boundaries, and you strengthen it through solitude. That's the man you're becoming, a man who no longer reacts to the chaos of others, a man who understands that peace doesn't need to be announced, it needs to be lived, a man who walks away not because he's weak, but because he's wise. And remember this, when you stop trying to prove your worth to toxic people, you make space to prove it to yourself. When you stop chasing understanding from others, you find understanding within. And when you stop reacting to negativity, you reclaim your destiny. So let them talk. Let them twist your story. Let them paint you as cold or heartless, because while they're busy talking about you, you'll be busy building yourself. You'll be stacking wins in silence, rising in power, and protecting the peace they could never give you. If you've ever learned to walk away with your dignity intact and your peace untouched, share your thoughts below. Because every time a man walks away without hatred, he doesn't just win, he ascends. At the end of it all, remember this: a strong man's peace is not built in comfort. It's forged in fire. It's built through the heartbreaks, betrayals, and the silent nights where you had to choose restraint over revenge. Every toxic person you've encountered was a lesson, not a loss. They didn't destroy you, they introduced you to the version of yourself that can never be destroyed again. You learn to stop chasing apologies that will never come. You learn to stop expecting empathy from people who feed on chaos, and most importantly, you learn that silence, distance, and discipline are not weaknesses, they're weapons of peace. Strong men don't fight every battle, they choose their battles wisely. They walk away not because they're afraid to fight, but because they've realized not every war is worth their peace. And when you understand that, you become dangerous, not because you can hurt others, but because nothing can hurt you anymore. So build your fortress of peace, protect it with boundaries, feed it with purpose, and guard it with silence. Because in this loud, reactive world, the calm man is the one who truly leads. This is what it means to be stoic. To remain centered when others lose control, to move with intention when others move in emotion, to walk away with peace instead of pain. You've already outgrown the noise. Now it's time to step fully into your power. If this message spoke to your soul, drop a comment below. Share it with a brother who's learning to protect his peace. And remember, you don't have to fight for control when you already are control. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay golden. You are stoic. You are strong. You are golden. Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe.